Today is Monday, August 16th. We'll explain major developments out of Afghanistan. What some considered a worst-case scenario has now become a reality as the Taliban have overrun the American-backed Afghan government. Also, the track of two storms brewing in the Atlantic. One could start impacting Americans today. Plus, a big boost to food stamp benefits, a recent hack that may have compromised T-Mobile customers, and how a rookie baseball player made MLB history. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Afghanistan's government has collapsed and the Taliban have effectively taken over. Of course, this comes even after more than 2,400 American troops gave their lives as the U.S. spent almost 2 decades and hundreds of billions of dollars to build up the Afghan government and its security forces. But those same Afghan forces did not put up much of a fight, and the Taliban took over the Afghan capital of Kabul yesterday. It was the last major city the Taliban had not already captured. Afghanistan's president, Ashraf Ghani, fled the country, and he posted on Facebook, "The Taliban have won." Taliban militants freed thousands of inmates from prisons and set up checkpoints to stop and search cars. For now, Taliban leaders are telling fighters to avoid killing civilians, but hundreds of thousands of Afghans have fled their homes anyway, worried the Taliban will again start an extremist government that could get rid of women's rights, or that it could go back to performing public executions. Over the weekend, American troops have been scrambling to airlift thousands more people to safety in military helicopters. They include Western diplomats, staffers, and their families, as well as Afghan civilians who helped U.S. forces. As of this morning, everyone has been evacuated from the American embassy in Kabul, and the American flag has been taken down. Back home in the U.S., some Republican lawmakers and some former officials are blaming the Biden administration for mishandling the situation, in part because many military leaders warned this could happen once U.S. troops left. Reports also say the Biden administration was caught off guard by how quickly the Taliban has taken over. But Secretary of State Antony Blinken defended the U.S. efforts. On CNN, he said the only reason Americans went to Afghanistan 20 years ago was to take down the people who attacked the U.S. on 9/11. And since that was done, it was time to get out. Many world leaders have been urging the Taliban to keep the peace, and the United Nations Security Council is holding an emergency meeting about Afghanistan this morning. A powerful 7.2 magnitude earthquake shook Haiti over the weekend. Sadly, almost 1,300 people have been reported dead so far, and the death toll could keep climbing. Thousands of people are hurt, and thousands more are left without a place to stay since their homes were damaged or destroyed. Hospitals, schools, offices, and churches are also affected. The U.S. Geological Survey says the quake likely caused hundreds of millions of dollars worth of damage. And to make matters worse, Haiti is still recovering from an earthquake in 2010 that killed 220,000 people. Well, now the U.S., United Nations, and private relief groups are promising to help. There are American crews already in Haiti helping with search and rescue efforts. The U.S. Coast Guard is also evacuating some injured people out of the area to places with more hospital space. And more groups are going in to set up shelters, deliver medical supply, hand out meals, and more. A tropical depression could make relief efforts in Haiti even more challenging. The storm named Grace is expected to move through the Caribbean today and tomorrow. As of this morning, the National Weather Service says it looks like the center of the storm will pass just north of where the earthquake struck. Haiti and the Dominican Republic could get heavy rain and gusty winds. Puerto Rico is expected to get even more rain that could lead to flash flooding and mudslides. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Fred is expected to hit the Florida Panhandle today. It's expected to make landfall just west of Panama City this afternoon or evening. It will bring up to a foot of rain, strong winds, and even some isolated tornadoes. As the storm moves north, it could bring even more rain to Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas by tomorrow. The 42 million Americans who get government help buying groceries are about to get a big boost. The New York Times and now other news outlets are reporting the Biden administration approved the largest increase to food stamp benefits in history, and it's going to be permanent. The average monthly benefits will reportedly be 27% higher than they were before the pandemic. So instead of $121 a person on average each month, each person will get an average of $157 a month. The last time the amount was updated was back in 2006. But earlier this year, the USDA was told to figure out how much it costs now to buy a nutritious diet with limited resources. So the department will lay out its findings today and announce the boost. Some Republicans are already skeptical, though, saying they'd like to see proof these benefits actually lead to people eating healthier foods. Others have long fought to add more work requirements for people to be eligible. American hospitals are dealing with a surge of COVID-19 patients, and they're mostly trending younger. CDC data shows hospitalizations among people in their 30s have hit a new record. Doctors and epidemiologists say it's because people in that age group have active lives, and a good portion are not vaccinated. Health officials say more than 95% of COVID-19 patients in the hospital now have not gotten their shots. But when it comes to Americans who are 70 and older, hospital admissions are down 65% from January. Almost 91% of seniors have gotten at least one COVID-19 vaccine shot, compared to about 60% of the population overall. By the way, more Americans might soon be eligible for booster shots. Health officials say the U.S. will likely decide for sure in the next couple of weeks whether to offer an extra shot to Americans this fall. It's expected healthcare workers and nursing home residents would get them first, followed by other older Americans. For now, only people with compromised immune systems are eligible here in the U.S. Doctors say for now, everyone else is still mostly protected by the 2 doses from Moderna or Pfizer, or the 1 dose from Johnson & Johnson. All right, we have more news coming up, but first, thanks to our sponsor, Rothy's. You all know by now that I love Rothy's shoes. Part of the reason? Rothy's believes style is about more than just fashion. Everything they make is exceptionally comfortable, totally sustainable, and fully machine washable. Yes, machine washable. Before Rothy's, I would rarely wear some of my favorite shoes because I was too stressed out they would get dirty, and I would just save them for only the best occasions. Ultimately, it was a waste of money. Well, not anymore. Now I can actually wear and enjoy my shoes. Whether it's red wine spills or dirt at the park, there's no stress thanks to Rothy's. And this is especially helpful with my white sneakers that I got from Rothy's. And you have many options to choose from when you're shopping there. Rothy's has slip-on sneakers, classic flats, sandals in an array of colors, as well as chic handbags and spacious totes. And now Rothy's newly launched men's shoes are also durable, washable, and better for the planet. Keep it fresh this summer with washable shoes and bags from Rothy's. Head to rothys.com/newsworthy to find your new warm weather favorites today. That's ROTHYS, rothys.com/newsworthy. One of the largest hotel companies in the world is reportedly making a big investment in vacation travel. The Wall Street Journal says Hyatt Hotels is planning to buy the resort company Apple Leisure Group for $2.7 billion. The Apple Leisure Group is currently owned by 2 private equity firms. It manages resort chains, sells vacation packages, and arranges charter flights for trips to Mexico and the Caribbean. So this deal could really boost Hyatt's portfolio. Bloomberg reports the deal will also help Hyatt Hotels expand its business into several European markets. A formal announcement is expected as soon as today. Boeing's dreams of flying missions to the International Space Station are on hold. The company's Starliner space capsule has been sent back to the factory less than 2 weeks after it was supposed to launch into space. That launch was scrubbed because of an equipment malfunction. And now engineers need to go back to the drawing board to resolve the problem. The capsule will have to go through extensive testing before another launch can be scheduled. But Boeing leaders are still optimistic. A company executive told reporters the Starliner will ultimately be a much safer vehicle. Boeing is trying to catch up to rival SpaceX. Both companies have contracts with NASA to develop spacecraft that can bring cargo and astronauts to the space station. But so far, only SpaceX has launched successful missions. T-Mobile may have been the latest victim of a hack. Someone posted online saying they got data from more than 100 million people listed on T-Mobile servers. The data includes social security numbers, phone numbers, addresses, and driver's license information. And the supposed hacker says they're starting to sell that data. The hacker demanded Bitcoin, worth around $270,000, to give back data from at least 30 million customers. At this point, T-Mobile has not said whether it really was hacked, just that the company is now investigating. Stay tuned. The movie Free Guy outperformed expectations at the box office over the weekend. It brought in more than $28 million in ticket sales in North America. That's nearly $10 million more than what analysts predicted. In the movie, actor Ryan Reynolds plays a bank teller who realizes he's living inside of a video game that's sort of like Grand Theft Auto. Reynolds says Disney is already asking for a sequel thanks to the strong support from fans. Free Guy debuted in theaters only, which could be part of why ticket sales did so well. The last 2 movies to debut in first place at the box office, Suicide Squad and Jungle Cruise, both debuted on streaming networks the same day as theaters. But ticket sales for those movies dropped sharply after just 1 week. Analysts are predicting Free Guy will reverse that trend in part because fans cannot watch it at home. It will be available on Disney Plus after 45 days in theaters. A rookie pitcher on the Arizona Diamondbacks got off to a pretty epic start. in Tyler Gilbert's very first time starting in a Major League Baseball game, he threw a no-hitter. Or in other words, not a single batter on the other team was able to hit one of his pitches. The final score was Diamondbacks 7, San Diego Padres 0. Gilbert is just the fourth pitcher in MLB history to do that on his first career start, and he's the first to do it since 1953. But this is also a really great year for pitchers overall. This was the 8th no-hitter of the year, and there have not been that many in a single season since 1884. And that's it for your main news today, but now it's time for Money Monday, where we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, a quick break for our sponsor. I'm a first-time parent, and at times, it can be challenging. In fact, any big transition period in our lives can feel really stressful. But the reality is, we don't have to go through those more intense seasons of life alone. BetterHelp pairs you with a licensed professional counselor who you can message anytime, 24/7, and get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule video or phone sessions as well. Yes, you can connect through text, phone, video, or all three, whatever helps you feel most supported. And of course, anything you share with your BetterHelp therapist is completely confidential. One BetterHelp user wrote that her therapist never made her feel judged and, quote, gave me perspective in an empathetic way that really helped me both process what I went through and gave me the validation I needed to move forward. So whatever your situation, I want you to start living a happier life today. And as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Join more than 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Money Monday. Americans are borrowing money again in record numbers, and analysts say that's actually a good sign for the economy. Between April and June, Americans took on another $313 billion in debt, which brought the overall debt American households owe to nearly $15 trillion. That's the fastest growth since 2007. A report from the New York Federal Reserve says mortgage loans made up about 2/3 of the increase. So that's from people who bought houses or refinanced their existing mortgages. As for the rest of the spending, credit card balances went up by $17 billion, and loans for cars and trucks increased by $33 billion. Meanwhile, total student loan debt actually fell by $14 billion. And in another positive sign for the economy, more borrowers are making their monthly payments on time. The report says fewer people are defaulting on their debt compared to before the pandemic. All right, thank you so much for listening today and for continuing to listen while I was away on maternity leave. I'm so happy to be back, reconnecting with you and bringing you these news roundups every Monday through Friday. Until tomorrow, have a great day.